Hello students, hope that you all have understood the topics discussed in the previous session. Today we are going to continue the first chapter and we are going to learn about the arrival of Britishers in our country. First, British interest in India. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth of England in the year 1600 CE, the British established the East India Company. This company belonged to merchants who wanted to increase their wealth by undertaking trade with India. The first British ship arrived in India at the port of Surat in the year 1608 CE. Captain William Hawkins, the captain of the ship, was the first British to set foot in India. He met Jahangir but did not get his permission to trade. Thereafter, Sir Thomas Roe arrived in India, who acquired the permission to establish trading center in Surat. Later, Delhi went into the hands of Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan gave permission to the British to carry out trade in Bengal. So here what he said means, in the year 1600 AD, the British East India Company was established in England in order to undertake trade with other nations of the world. So then the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, gave permission to East India Company to carry out trade with eastern countries like India, Sri Lanka, China, etc. Thus, the first ship under the leadership of Captain William Hawkins came in Surat in the year 1608 CE. Captain Hawkins met the then Mughal ruler Jahangir, but he did not give permission. Jahangir did not give permission to Hawkins. So they had to go back to England. Later, another ship of merchants came under the leadership of Sir Thomas Roe and they arrived in India. This time, they got permission from Jahangir to establish their trade in Surat. Thus, the first trade center of British was established in Surat in 1613 AD and they expanded their trade centers to Bharuch and Ahmedabad also. When Shah Jahan became the ruler of Delhi, Shah Jahan gave permission to the East India Company to start their trade in Bengal. So now we learn about the French. The French established the French East India Company in the year 1664 CE. They established factories in Surat, Machilipatnam and Puducherry, Pondicherry. The head of the French company was Joseph Francois Dupleix, who had the desire to expand the European rule in India. Thus, the French and the British stood in competition against each other to become the strongest European company. There were innumerable disputes and battles, and finally, the British emerged as the winners. However, the French retained their control over the trading centers of Puducherry, Mahi, and Chandranagar. So, here it is said that the French East India Company that was established in France in the year 1664 CE and they came to India. They came to India for trade in the year 1668 AD and eventually they established their trade centers in Surat, Machilipatnam, Mahi, Karaikal, Pondicherry, etc. The head of the French East India Company was Francois Dupleix and he was over-ambitious to expand their rule in India. Thus, here in India, a strong and fierce competition in order to establish the trade center started between the French and the British people. And many conflicts and many battles took place between these two European powers. And finally, the French people were suppressed by the Britishers. However, few territories of India like Mahi, Chandranagar, Karaikal, Puducherry, all these places were still in the hands of the French people. Okay. Next paragraph, British trade in Bengal. The British first started their trade on the banks of the river Hooghly and established forts in the year 1651 CE. The forts were garrisoned for the protection of the factory and got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to trade without paying taxes against an annual payment. Here, with the permission of Shah Jahan, the Britishers established their trade center in Bengal. According to that, they established their fort on the banks of river Hooghly. Okay, they established this fort in the year 1651 CE. They also fortified their forts. Garrisoned means fortified. A long wall was constructed surrounding the fort for its protection. Okay, strong walls were constructed around the fort for their protection. So by this time, they had also got permission from another Mughal emperor Aurangzeb to trade without paying any taxes. Actually, all the traders were supposed to pay taxes. If they wanted to do trade with India, they had to pay tax every year. But these Britishers got a special advantage of, not paying taxes. Emperor Aurangzeb gave the Britishers this advantage of not paying taxes. Then, so they got an exemption from that with the order of Aurangzeb. They didn't have to pay tax for doing trade in Bengal. Now we move on to the next paragraph. Expansion of the British rule between 1757 CE and 1857 CE. So, here what we are going to learn is, by this time, the East India Company was in a race to earn more and more money. As per the order passed in Bengal, only the company availed the benefit of tax-free trading. However, many officers who were engaged in private trade did not pay the taxes as well. As a result, the income generated from the tax collection in Bengal reduced, which in turn was opposed by Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan. This dispute kept on recurring even during the time of Ali Vardi Khan. After Ali Vardi Khan, his son Siraj Dawla took charge. He got involved into a major battle with the British. What he said in this paragraph is, by this time, the British East India Company, they started a race, a competition in India to earn more and more money. How? By expanding their colonies in many parts of India. So as per the order passed in Bengal, only the British East India Company was given the benefit of tax-free trading. But actually what happened there was, many officers in the company who were doing private trade also did not pay the tax. As a result, there was a great reduction in the tax collected in Bengal. And this was not liked by the rulers of Bengal. Murshid Quli Khan was the first one who opposed this, and thus the dispute between the Nawab of Bengal and the British East India Company continued. Okay, so it started and it continued even during the time of Ali Vardi Khan, another Nawab of Bengal. After the death of Ali Vardi Khan, his son Siraj Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal. So during that time also, he had great conflicts between East India Company on account of not paying taxes. Okay, now we learn about Siraj Dawla and the battle he fought with Britishers, that is the Battle of Plassey. Siraj Dawla became Nawab of Bengal in the year 1756. He had an overwhelming influence over the British. The British helped the competitors of Siraj Dawla by conspiring against him so that he would not remain on the throne of Bengal. There were frequent conflicts with the British merchants regarding the payment of taxes. When the British merchants failed to pay taxes which were applicable to both Indian and foreign merchants, the situation came to a boil. He ordered that the British should not fortify the factory, pay the taxes as per the rules and trade as per the terms and conditions. This provocation was enough for Siraj to opt for war, and he succeeded in expelling the British from Calcutta. The British counterattacked under the leadership of Robert Clive. Clive bribed Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj Dawla, with a promise to confer the throne of Bengal to him and convinced him to join their side. With his help, Robert Clive defeated and murdered Siraj Dawla in the Battle of Plassey. This was the first war fought by the company in India, which marked the beginning of the British rule in India. Thus, this war is considered to be a turning point in the history of India. Now we learn about Siraj Dawla and the battle he fought with, that is the Battle of Plassey. Siraj-ud-Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal in the year 1756. He always got in conflicts with the Britishers. And the Britishers, on the other hand, helped the enemies of Siraj-ud-Dawla with a view to remove him out of the throne of Bengal. There were frequent quarrels regarding the payment of taxes. During this time, the Britishers made a wall around the factory without asking the permission from the Nawab. This act of the British was not liked by the Nawab. So he ordered to demolish the wall, and thus a fierce battle was started between Siraj-ud-Dawla and British East India Company. And Siraj-ud-Dawla was able to defeat the Britishers in this battle. But very soon the Britishers counterattacked Siraj-ud-Dawla under the leadership of Robert Clive. Robert Clive bribed Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dawla, and he promised him to make him the ruler of Bengal after the death of Siraj-ud-Dawla. Thus, Mir Jafar came to the side of Robert Clive. With the help of Mir Jafar, Clive defeated Siraj-ud-Dawla and killed him in the Battle of Plassey. Thus, the Battle of Plassey was the first war fought by the East India Company in India, and it was a turning point in the history of India. The Battle of Plassey marked the beginning of British rule in India. Now we learn about Battle of Buxar. Let me read that paragraph. As promised, the East India Company appointed Mir Jafar as Nawab of Bengal. Robert Clive also went back to England. With the passage of time, Mir Jafar became hostile towards the British. The company decided to replace him with his son-in-law Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim was an efficient, disciplined and clever ruler. The problem arose between Nawab and the company on account of non-payment of taxes, which ultimately brought both the forces face to face with each other. In 1763, Mir Qasim was defeated by the company, but he escaped. He reorganized his army along with the forces of Nawab of Oudh, Shuja-ud-Dawla and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Their combined forces met the company forces at Buxar in 1764. The British East India Company won the war, and all of a sudden, Bengal, Awadh and Mughal Empire was under their control. Robert Clive was sent to India to take control of the situation. That's how the East India Company, a trading company, emerged as a political power in the subcontinent of India. So what is said here in this paragraph is, after the death of Siraj-ud-Dawla, Mir Jafar was made the Nawab of Bengal, and Robert Clive thereafter went back to England. But with the passing of time, Mir Jafar also became the enemy of Britishers. Then the company removed Mir Jafar from the post of Nawab, and Mir Qasim was made the Nawab in place of Mir Jafar. Again, there was problem started between Mir Qasim and the British East India Company on account of non-payment of taxes. Ultimately, again there was a war between Mir Qasim and the British East India Company, and Mir Qasim was defeated by the company in this battle. But Mir Qasim escaped from there and took shelter at the palace of Nawab of Awadh. There he reorganized his army with the help of Nawab of Awadh, Shuja-ud-Dawla and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Thus, the combined forces fought with the company at a place named Buxar in 1764. But they were defeated by the East India Company, and thus the company won the war and they got control over Bengal, Awadh and Mughal kingdom. Thus, after the Battle of Buxar, East India Company, which came to India for trade, emerged as a political power in India. Hope that this chapter is clear to all of you. For a better understanding, please go through your textbook thoroughly. Till we meet in the next session, take care. Bye. Thank you.